letter for our folder on Bob. And again, in a very few succinct words, he has talked about the Bob Birt that he knows. He has since become CICR's president, played a very active role in the reorganization of the CICR, both at the level of its structures and of its activities, showing in every instance a great sense of purpose and unique organizational skills. Without him, the Institute would probably not have survived the very difficult times it had to go through the last few years, like so many institutions of its kind. I can attest to the dedication, sense of duty, and resilience of Bob through all of those difficult and more than once discouraging times. Pardon me, I didn't think I should highlight. As a lawyer, I would highlight, but I don't think Bob would appreciate highlights on this, so I'm working a bit from memory on some of the touching things, or the very poignant things that have been said. And from Giovanna Ricamo at Nelligan Power. Giovanna comments that I met Bob Birt several years ago at meetings held in the offices of Gowling and Strathy and Henderson, when initiatives were underway for the preparation of a commitment letter aimed at enlisting the support of lawyers, businesses, and public interest groups in promoting the advancement of alternative dispute resolution. It was plain to me that Mr. Birt was committed to this objective and extremely active in this area, as well as the development of educational programs specifically for lawyers and the public at large to enhance the commitment and comfort level of all with respect to ADR. Guy Baron, Acting Director of Dispute Resolution Project at the Department of Justice, comments specifically on some of the work that Bob has done from his perspective. The 4 program areas developed by the CICR during that period of time, and he's talking about Bob's last 3 years as president of CICR, during that period of time: youth, professional development, the Fellows Program, and community-based conflict resolution in a multicultural society, have, in my mind, advanced a better understanding of the principles of dispute resolution and conflict avoidance in the communities where those programs have been presented. And finally, but not least, Andrew Thomas, who joins us today from Rochester. Comments in his letter: it's a fine tribute from your colleagues, the certificate that we're about to present, and a reward for which you richly deserve for your many years of dedicated and outstanding service to the profession. I am particularly delighted by your being selected because I have witnessed your contributions to the betterment of the conflict resolution field at the expense of personal sacrifices. Your relentless pursuit to make community-based conflict resolution a household word in Canada has been recognized and is appreciated as reflected by this most prestigious award. In recognition of your contributions to the field, I am proud to say that you have, by distinguished service and personal example, enhanced the cause of peaceful resolution of conflict and helped expand the understanding of its principles and use its processes to improve the quality of life to the community. The Institute choice was obviously a wise one. I agree. There's much more in this folder, and but that highlights, I think, some of the points that I felt were really worthwhile making today. I apologize for my jumping around a little bit, but hey, there's a lot in there. The CICR itself, I guess I've been involved more or less directly or indirectly over the last couple of years. As I mentioned in my letter, it was a Board of Trade involvement that I guess first got me interested in what was going on over here. And I just will share a couple of personal thoughts very briefly, because we have some fun to do once we get this presentation over with. But it impressed me very greatly how vital an organization, CICR, has been during the last couple of years, at least in my view. I have been most impressed with the very impressive array of persons who have devoted time and effort to the activities of CICR in terms of the backgrounds of those people, the education, the variety of education of them, the variety of training experience. I've also been very impressed by the network that was referred to in one of those letters, but there's truly an impressive network of people that Bob has cultivated and activated and otherwise coerced or enthused into activity with and in conjunction with the CICR. And that network is growing. I think Bob feels now at an alarming rate, but hey, that's what it's all about. I've also been impressed, even in the short time, relatively short time that I've been with it, how there has been a consensus formed as to the direction of CICR. There really is, I think now, an understanding within the, certainly the Board of Directors and the Board of Governors as to what the organization is and what they would like to see in the CICR, even at this relatively young formative stage of the organization. I guess the thinking in my mind is, wow, just wait a few years and stand back and watch. It's going to be a pretty exciting group to be involved with. But enough said. Let's get to the pièce de résistance, Bob. Come on up here, and I am very honored to present to you what is entitled an Honors Residency Certificate. It is truly a unique document. It was prepared by and through this organization with no input from you whatsoever. I had my patent draftsman put the CICR logo on there. He was very proud of that, and it doesn't look half bad because he had to do it from with difficult circumstances. However, I will read to Bob and to the group in the room what we're about to present, and then we'll be quiet and sit down and leave you to the microphone. But it reads, after the logo and the name of the institution and the title, Honors Residency Certificate, conferred on Robert P. Birt this 19th day of May, 1994, upon his successful completion with distinction, very good, well done, of a 3-year residency program with the Canadian Institute for Conflict Resolution and practice of community-based conflict resolution. Bob, congratulations and thank you.
You're welcome. Maybe we should just play Alligator River. April, you want to get the sheets and 30 people in a room. Always like to see who really likes slugs. I did something else. I actually wrote this out, so I hope that it has some meaning for you. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who contributed to the day. It's very special. And for the voting members, colleagues, and their guests, thank you very much for the kind words in presenting me with this certificate. It is an honor and a privilege to be the first recipient. It is also one of my greatest hopes that I won't be the last. Tonight I'm speaking in my role as resident, or should I say former resident, rather than president of the CICR. The two roles have often intertwined, but it was this opportunity to pursue an alternative path to grad school, to study and work full-time in the field of conflict resolution and combine the academic environment of St. Paul University and the pragmatic environment of the community. And this has been my engine that has sustained my other role as president. I would recommend to anyone the full-time residency who is seeking alternatives to the status quo or is trying to determine a new life path. The scope of the position and the satisfaction of working in the field of conflict resolution is a major part of the compensation. With time, it's hoped that the other part will improve. The criteria for my residency was to design, develop, deliver, and evaluate a comprehensive program in community-based conflict resolution. This program is now part of the CICR. The initial mission of the community-based conflict resolution program was to demonstrate the possibilities of changing the paradigm of confrontation and adversarial methods we employ as a society in the settlement of disputes and resolution of conflict. My mission tonight is to speak about that program and to struggle at the same time with the fact that which is possible is made so by the simple. That which is simple is often difficult to explain. Excuse me. The underlying principle for community-based conflict resolution is, in order to establish union or collaboration within a community, everyone must have access and understanding of the methods and principles used in conflict resolution. It is critical that the methods used in the schoolyard be the same as in the community. Those which are used by community organizations be used in the conference and boardrooms of government and business, and that the methods used by the keepers of the law be available to those who are governed by them. To function in the communities it serves, where we live, where we work, and where we interact, it must also be practical, efficient, and effective, and its development must be sustainable. To meet the definition of community, the process must be inclusive, barrier-free, and positively centered. The ownership of conflict and the choices related to the outcome are vested in the participants, as are the process for settlement and resolution. Community-based means that it is to be based on and respond to the needs of people, especially in times of uncertainty or tension. The key process is gathering and the use of training as a positive centered activity which is non-issue based. Training is seen as an opportunity to work out differences and becomes a key conflict resolving process in itself. It is coupled with the gathering process so that each training experience has a variety of backgrounds and interests to reflect the fabric of the community. It employs, along with other processes such as mediation, facilitation, and conciliation, the gathering process for reconciliation, conflict resolution, and settlement. It is based on the principle that where dignity and respect exist, trust will follow, and that these are the conditions for forgiveness and healing necessary to bring about peace. In its training methods, it's experiential, calling upon the intuitive and native talents of people who are sometimes unaware that they possess them, and too often either intimidated or self-conscious of using them. As a process, it has no power unless it is enabled by the human spirit and will. As a process, it has no meaning unless it can in turn empower its users with a sense of self-determination and positive centered activity. It has no direction unless it is motivated by an essence that transcends the barriers of doubt and touches much higher powers. Community-based conflict resolution is at its fullest a peacemaking process. Its goal is to bring from the chaos of conflict order and the potential